In the process of achieving our dreams as an airline pilot, we sometimes forget that we have a lot of phases that we have to go through. And those phases do have a lot of things that could come back. If not done correctly, they could come back to haunt us down the line in the future. As I went through my own journey of becoming a pilot and joining an airline and figuring all this out, I've learned a lot in the past, I would say 10 plus years. And looking back, I've realized that there were things that I've actually done that has come to help me in my present position right now. On this channel, my goal is always to share information that would help you achieve your goals, that will help you achieve your own dream, and of course, help you to avoid the mistakes that I made in the process. And not just me, from other people's experiences, from friends, colleagues, and so on. The goal here is to share as much as I can so that you can learn from it. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for joining me. In this video, I'll be sharing the things that you shouldn't do, or at least avoid as much as you can in the process of you achieving your goal as an airline pilot. It will take a lot of work, but I want you to pay attention along the way to know that every step, every action is accounted for and nothing is going to be amiss. One thing I ask of you is just a like. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. That's really how I get to know that you have found value in this video. The first one, don't get a speeding ticket, or at least try to avoid it as much as you can. Let's assume that you got only one ticket in the past 10 years. Then, okay, not a big deal. But let's say you have multiple tickets. That means you cannot comply with rules. You cannot abide by the rules. And what does that tell a potential employer in the future? Well, it tells them that you won't be able to abide by the rules. It's as simple as that. If you have multiple citations or speeding ticket, then there's a problem right there. This person lacks the ability to abide by rules. And no airline would want to trust them with an airplane or trust the pilot with an airplane, knowing that the pilot is likely not to comply with rules. It's as simple as that. So try to avoid speeding tickets. This is something that is very easy to get because, sometimes you have the cops hiding in the corners and things like that. So you want to always make sure that you pay attention. In line with driving, the other thing is DUIs. You don't want to drink and drive. Of course, that's just common sense, you think. But guess what? A lot of people fall into this every time. And I'm talking about pilots, professional pilots, not just, a student pilot or some flight instructor. No, I'm talking about professional pilots, airline pilots. They fall into this every time. It always makes the news. And this is something that if you have a drinking problem, seek help right away. But one thing you don't want to do is, of course, drink and fly. Like they say, 8 hours from bottle to throttle. But that's even flying. What about driving? You don't want to be caught driving and drinking or drinking and driving, however you want to look at it. Because what will happen is it's a red flag when you go down the line applying for jobs. Here's the thing. No matter the job you apply to, they would ask you about your history, your citations, the tickets that you've gotten, things of that nature, the offenses that you've committed. And you'd have to explain these things because they will do a background check on you and everything will come to light. Because when you're found lying or hiding something, well, that means you're not an honest person and you are not going to be trusted with an airplane. That's just as simple as it is. Now, moving on to an aspect that I feel like sometimes you are unable to control, but you want to do your best in order to avoid some of these issues. And that is a check ride failure. Your goal always is to not fail a check ride. Of course, we all want to succeed and pass an exam, go for it and ace it and get an A and things of that nature. But remember, your check ride is something that will stay with you. It's a record that will stay with you for the rest of your career. Every time you go for an interview, every time you apply for a job, you would be asked, how many failures have you had? Especially the check rides. The truth is, if you've had multiple check ride failures, it also means that maybe you're a difficult person to train or you're just unable to learn. And that also raises a red flag for the airline. It's very important. I always ask my students, pay attention as you approach a check ride. Dot your I's, cross your T's. It's very important to avoid an unnecessary check ride failure. Control as much as you can to avoid having a check ride failure on your record. Talking about your records and check rides in your attempt to get your hours up and get your necessary requirements. Because, for example, as a private pilot, you need certain hours To solo, you need certain hours. To get your check ride done as a commercial pilot, you need certain hours as well, and so forth. So in your attempt to get those hours, I've heard and seen people try to make up hours. This is something that you absolutely want to avoid. This can actually get you kicked out of a flight school. This can get your licenses suspended, and of course can get you in trouble. And you know what is so interesting is, even in order to get to major airlines, there have been a few guys that have tried to make up hours and they end up getting caught because they would look into your logbook. And I think you guys might have seen my video in the past about, what your logbook says about you. If you haven't checked it out, please go ahead and check it out. Because at the end of the day, your records needs to make sense. Yes, they might not go line by line because you have thousands of hours, but the progression of things can really raise a flag if something is off. So of course, do not make up hours. Do not lie on your records, like I've mentioned earlier. Last but not least in this video is, do not be in a hurry to make a lot of money. I've seen cases in the past where pilots that were on the right path chose to be in a hurry to make money, and then you make a decision that puts you in trouble. And I'm talking about things from scams, all right? I'm not joking. You'll be surprised that people are so desperate, are so impatient that they go out of their way to try to make ends meet. And this is not even trying to make ends meet. I'm talking about people that are already done with training. They are probably an instructor, but they just want to make more money. They're selfish, greedy, things of that nature. And you end up going to ruin your career. Once you are arrested and you're found guilty, I'm sorry to say, it's very, very difficult to make it back into the flight deck, or at least get hired by an airline. And that is why I always encourage guys, be patient, do the hard work, face what you have to face so that you can cross that hurdle and get to a better place. Now, this video focused on things that you shouldn't do. Now, of course, you can inverse that and, make sense of the things that you should do, of course, right? Or should avoid. But there's actually another video that I'm going to be releasing soon that would focus on the things that you should do that would help you to get hired as soon as you qualified. I hope that you have found value in this video. If you have, please don't forget to hit a thumbs up on this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Of course, I have more videos that you may find informational, so please check them out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know the lessons you've learned or the things you've heard. I would love to read them. And if you have questions, leave them below as well.